Looks like we're live.
All right, all right. We are live. Give us 2 seconds. We're going to share this all of the places
Oh,
so
yeah.
that people can watch this all over the place. But as we're doing that, if you are someone who has a group program and you're like, I'm getting more people in, why do I still feel broke? Or why do I not have the money I want for the lifestyle I want? Then you're so going to want to watch this training because we have some pure freaking magic up in here happening. So while we're kind of sharing in all of the places, let us know if you're watching live, comment live below. If you're watching the replay and you're like, Nick, you've already shared this, I'm watching the replay. Hit replay below. We'd love to see who is watching this jam. And we'll get rolling.
Awesome. Got to share it everywhere. That's a process to share your lives.
It is. It's like share, 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 get it together. I love it. Magic. All right. So got the sharing going. For those of you who don't know us, depending on where you're watching this, I'm Nikki Nash. I am a marketing genius helping experts get more dream clients into their programs, specifically group programs. And Megan, my girl Megan, take it away.
Yeah, my name is Megan Huber. If this is our first time connecting, and I'm a genius too, Nikki.
Yeah, you are.
I'm just a genius in the client retention. Once you have enrolled people into your group coaching program, how do we keep them there? How do we increase your monthly recurring revenue? And how do you truly facilitate and lead transformation with your clients so that you're turning them into lifers and it really gets you off of that perpetual, like almost feeling like cash broke cycle, even though you're launching your group program all the time. So that's me. We put our two geniuses together.
That is true. And it's so important. And a big part of why we are doing this together is because if you are someone who has been launching their group program, maybe you've done it once, twice, 3 times, 10 times already, you may notice that you're like, oh my goodness, I'm launching, I'm bringing in some money. If I miss my target though, I am, for lack of a better word, screwed. Or even if I hit my target, somehow my money isn't really doing what I thought it would for me. Like it's not going as far as I wanted it to. So therefore I need to keep launching. And if you have one launch that doesn't go well, you're kind of like crap, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we see a lot of people like, look, we all know at this point, everybody kind of starts their service-based business trading dollars for hours and providing a one-on-one service. And I strongly believe always start with one-on-one, but there comes a time where you transition into group. And I think people have this idea that as soon as I transition into group, it's just all of a sudden going to be this windfall of people that come in, and I'm going to have the ability to kind of pick my foot up off of the marketing and the sales gas pedal and really put all my eggs in the basket of launching. It doesn't matter how you're launching. Like there's so many different ways of launching and filling your group coaching program. But what we're seeing is that people are relying only on their launches and there's nothing happening in between. And it's sort of like putting so much pressure on these few times throughout the year, whether it's 4 or 6 or 8 times a year, putting all this pressure to perform at such a high level and almost getting people to this state of just like pure exhaustion. I think partially because of all the pressure that they're putting on the launches. And then it's like this sort of, almost devastating feeling when you have those launches that don't meet your enrollment and financial goals. And then you're just sort of like, oh no, like, what do I do now? Do I go back to the drawing board? Is what I'm doing not working? Should I just not have this group? I think something that we both hear is like, I should just like throw my group in the towel. I should just like quit my group coaching program because it's not producing the level of consistency and predictability that I assumed it was going to.
Yeah. And we've seen it, we've experienced it in our own businesses. And one of the things that you're going to keep seeing from us, just like as a heads up, is more conversations around group and how do you actually create a profitable, sustainable group program. But the focus of this live that we're going to do right now is really about how do you profit from your group program. And what does that mean? Right. So for those of you that are like, yeah, I'm on that launch cycle or that group program revenue roller coaster, let us know below, because we are going to access that and share things that we wish we knew when we were jumping into group. That will be a game changer for you guys. And then also you're going to want to stay to the end, because we have this like fantastical, magical announcement that we're going to be sharing with you guys. So you'll definitely want to like keep watching till the end, because there's pure freaking magic happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Nikki, I would love to hear from you. Like, you and I both have been running our own group coaching programs for a lot of years. I mean, I think you and I both have like 5 or 6 years under our belt of running groups in this particular iteration of our businesses. And we both started somewhere. So do you have a story you could share about, what it was like for you to be generating revenue in your first couple of groups that you ran? And like, were you making a whole lot of money? Did you have a lot of extra cash, or were you just literally feeling like it was like launch to launch to launch and, then living off of that? Were you making any profit? Like, what was it like for you in the first few rounds of your group coaching program?
Yeah. Well, full transparency, guys, my first group program bombed. Like, I had 0 people enroll in it. So let's just be transparent about that. But once I started consistently launching group, something became very apparent. And it's because I was following advice from one of my early mentors that said, essentially, if you want $10,000 in your bank account, or an incremental $10,000 from what you're already making in your bank account, then just sell essentially $10,000 worth of programming, right? Like, get 10 people at $1,000 a month, or get, 5 people at $2,000 a month, and bam, like rolling in the dough. And what I realized really quickly was that's not right. Like, that's like made up math. That's not real business math, because so many things happen. First of all, let's be real. Most of us accept credit cards, and you automatically lose about 3% or a little bit more straight from credit card transaction fees.
Yep.
So I wouldn't have $10,000 in my bank account from selling $10,000 worth of group programs. Then there was my business expenses, like paying for the mentor that gave me this advice, and paying for, any other tools and systems that I had in place. So bam, I had expenses there. Then there was the fact that I had my own personal expenses, so I needed to pay myself. And so at the end of the day, I was left with really nothing, and I kept feeling broke. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that wasn't enough. I need to keep launching. I need to keep getting more people. I need to keep doing certain things. And then I was also getting that message, like, live your best life and like create the life you want. So then as I got more clients, I was also like, I need to treat myself to a monthly massage, and I need to get my eyelash extensions, and I need to get my hair done. And next thing I knew, I was constantly in that I need to get more people. It was almost anxious, like anxiety. And that impacted my launches too. So not every launch was masterfully great, because I was in that space of broke, money, help me, come in, need to make more money, which was my personal early on cycle experience that I was having with group.
Yeah. And then on top of the business expenses and personal expenses, like, oh, by the way, there's taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't even talk about taxes. Got to pay the man.
That's one of the most unfun places to funnel your money to. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I think so many folks, and in the beginning, I did this too. I did the same thing you did. It was like, how much, I think so many of us are thinking in the beginning, like, how much do I need to fund my lifestyle, to pay my mortgage or my rent, to do some extra vacations, to have some extra money, to have my play money, to have my slush fund, pay for all my bills. Like, yeah, of course, like pay for all the living expenses. But even just the living expenses, that's quite a few $1,000s. I mean, I know how much it costs us to live 3 people in a house and pay for all the things that you're just required to pay for, like your insurance, like all the insurances, your car payment, like all those things. And I think when we're initially setting price points for programs and creating enrollment goals and creating financial goals, it's really easy to kind of almost go at it from this like place of fantasy or romanticizing about the type of lifestyle I'm going to be able to live. And ultimately, like, yeah, that's part of the goal. Like, one of the goals is you want your business to be the vehicle to literally fund your personal goals, right? But we have to think about profit with that. The profit is what's really going to allow you to fund your personal goals in the future and long term. So like with your example, Nikki, if the goal was 10 people in a program at $1,000 a month, you're bringing in $10,000. By the time you pay yourself to pay your personal bills, you put 15% towards taxes for that month. You pay, I don't know, based on what you said, let's just say you were paying a coach $1,500 a month and you had $500 in business expenses. Like, we'll just be super conservative. That's like $2,000. And then if you put money in how much do you actually have left over? There's not really that much left over after business expenses, taxes, and then if you put some money in profit. And then the other thing we haven't even talked about, which this could be another conversation, it's about having enough money in business expenses that you're using to put back into the business to grow the business.
Yeah.
And so people are just not factoring in all those different places when it comes to, well, what do I charge and what are the real goals here? And then how do I structure everything so it actually backs into that and I actually get what I desire?
Yeah. And to be honest, at that stage of my business, I didn't have profit. I basically was zeroed out once I hit my money I put aside for taxes, the expenses for the business, and then paying myself so I can fund my personal expenses. I had nothing left over. So every month I was starting at zero. And what that does is it makes it really hard to do two important things. One, grow your business, and two, create personal wealth. And so I realized early on for me, I'm like, I want to have a net worth of, ultimately $10 million was like a target I set for myself. And I'm like, I don't even have a net worth of $1 at this point. Like, that's how I was feeling. I'm like, I have nothing. And I have this business that on the outside, people are like, it's successful, like 6 figures, magic, yada, yada, yada. But what I realized really quickly is that how much money you're bringing in matters. But what matters more is how much you actually have in profit at the end of the day. And for me, like, profit is this amazing thing where I look at it, and you can talk about how you look at it, but I look at, there's like my personal profit and my business profit, right? So I ideally want to be able to pay myself so that I'm not just living paycheck to paycheck, which was essentially like paying yourself what felt like less than my full-time job. Even with my full-time job, I had discretionary income when I worked in corporate, right?
Yeah.
And ideally, I want to pay myself enough so that I have more than enough so that I can use that money for my personal goals. And then I also have business profit to put back into the business is kind of how I look at it. I split my profit. And so I had to do different things and look at my business and think about it differently in order to get there, because I wasn't thinking about profit. I wasn't thinking about, how do I not live month to month, paycheck to paycheck, launch to launch in this business.
Yeah. Yeah. Even folks who are making 6 figures, like 100K, 80K, 100K, 120K, 150K a year. Look, like, let's be real. For most of us in, at least in America, we didn't even have jobs before that were making that much. I mean, I was a teacher before. I was making pre-tax. It was like $36,000 a year pre-tax with a master's degree in teaching. And then I was only bringing it, like, what I was actually bringing home was $2,000 a month. Like, imagine that. I can't even wrap my mind around, like, how did I even survive at $2,000 a month as a teacher? Oh, I do know how I was. My parents were still giving me money, right? Like, and then I got married. So then we had like 2 incomes. But even with our 2 incomes as a personal trainer, and a teacher, I was never making as much as my business started making once I had group coaching programs. But then having the group coaching programs, I shouldn't say never. There was a time where I was making many, many multiples of 6 figures just from my group coaching program. But I never felt like I was further along financially than when I was making $2,000 a month as a teacher. Like, that is bananas. That's crazy pants. And one of the reasons why is because I wasn't considering, when I was setting price points and investment levels for my group coaching program, and then mapping that out before I went into a launch, how much do I need left over to put into profit? What's my personal expense budget? What's my business budget? How much am I going to put in taxes? And I think so few people are actually doing that math before they're deciding what they want to charge. And they're just thinking, well, what's my audience going to pay for? Or what's my belief level at? Or what just feel, I mean, the big one, the popular one is what feels good to you? And it's like, we just kind of pull this number out of the air and we just say it because we think that's right. But then you're left with not a lot afterwards. I'll tell you a quick story. Nikki, I had a client, we'll call her Mary. It's not her real name, but we started working together. This was a few years ago. We worked together for about 2.5 to 3 years. But when she first came to me, she already had a group program. She had run that group program, I think maybe 2 or 3 times. She was already launching it in the way she was launching it. And her business overall was doing about 135K to 150K in revenue a year. And that was with some one-on-one still and with her group. But she didn't have profit to go do extra things that she really wanted to do. And what she really wanted to do was a whole lot of travel with her family. And between she and her husband and kids, there were 5 kids, 2 parents. That's 7 people. Like, that's not a cheap trip to Europe, right? Like that's going to cost you.
I'm not sure that's a cheap trip anywhere, but
for anybody, right?
Right.
And so she wasn't able to do those things though, even though she's making 150K, which is way more than she'd ever made before. She had created this leveraged program in her group coaching program. She still wasn't able to do the things that she truly desired to do that brought her joy and happiness with her family. The other thing that she really wanted to do, and I remember this was one of her desires, is she wanted to figure out, how can I be making enough money and profit, pay for all the things that I have to pay for that we've already discussed, and still take a week off every single month from my business where I didn't have to be in marketing, sales, or delivery mode. And that really does rest in your ability to create positive profit when you're creating the rates and the investment level for your program. You got to do that math first.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you guys walk away with like one thing from this training, it's to think about your pricing from a profit standpoint, right? Like, how much are you profiting from your price? And what's crazy is when I worked in tech startups and other areas, I would look at, how much does it cost to create and manufacture this product, and how much does it cost to like pay team and all this other stuff? And we want to make sure there's a profit off of that. But when I started my business and I was selling a service, I very much went down the path of, how would I feel like charging? What vibration am I at? And I'm not saying that there's like, anything wrong with having a woo element to your business, but you have to think about profit if you want to build a sustainable business. Like, you have to think, okay, how can I add an extra 5% or 10%, or make sure that I have an extra, $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month on top of where I'm absolutely spending money, such that I can fund the next level of my business, so that I can fund the next level of my life, so I can put money aside, so that I can prepare for retirement, like whatever it is that you would like to do, so that you're not living paycheck to paycheck metaphorically in your business until pretty much you give it up and or die.
Yeah, it's so cool we're having this conversation. Actually, this morning, it was, 8 o'clock, 8:30 this morning, I was private messaging a past client of mine. And we worked together for, I think it was over a year, about 1.5 years. And one of the things that she was always really, really drawn to and interested in was building her wealth. And look, when we're in a service-based business, especially in the coaching world, like, our business is our retirement plan, but not from the standpoint of I have to work in my business and keep, delivering everything I'm selling until I'm 85. We don't want to have that approach to it. You really want to look at your profit as it's the vehicle that's going to build your wealth. And so this client of mine that I had in the past, we were chatting this morning, and she was like, Megan, I'm so excited because me and my partner just closed on a vacation investment property. And that's what she always wanted to do. She always wanted her business to be a vehicle to fund her wealth building efforts. And unless you have that profit baked into the price points of everything it is that you're out there selling, especially your group coaching program, if that's your main business model, then there has to be enough extra profit that you're accumulating to fund these other wealth building streams of income, because it's actually those other wealth building streams of income that are going to grow your wealth long term, not just the money that I'm making today that's going to fund my lifestyle today for my group coaching program. If that's the way we're thinking, our business is no longer a vehicle to fund our wealth building efforts and put that profit into other things like real estate or becoming a franchise owner. You know, you and I were even talking about that, like all these other business ideas that we have. What if your group coaching program and your business was modeled and price points were like incorporating profit so that sooner rather than later, you can fund those things? Like that is exciting. Like that is so exciting to me versus let me just like make enough money to pay for what I have to pay for. Even if it costs you $30,000 a month to live, you don't just want to make enough to cover that, or else you're not able to truly build your wealth. And I think that's what's so important to both of us to help people with.
100%, 100%. And, you know, it's funny because we're both excited about that wealth creation. And as I shared with folks earlier, like my initial goal, like I want to get to the target of where my wealth is worth $10 million. And then my goal is to hit that target and then maybe, or not maybe, definitely increase it, but use that as a milestone. But it starts with getting to that first million. And you can't get to that first million in wealth if you don't have especially if you're like 100% all in your business, if you don't have profitability baked in. Yep. And so for those of you, if you're excited about creating wealth with your group program, if you're excited about like looking at your business as a vehicle for your future investments, for your wealth creation, let us know in the comments, because that's something that I don't think enough of us speak about. And so the more of us that are commenting saying, heck yeah, that's what I'm interested in, that's what I'm looking for. I think it shows that, you know, we are a community of kick butt women that are thinking about how we can use our business as a vehicle for wealth generation and for that future growth and you know, expansion of our own lives.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And then there's so many possibilities with this as well. I mean, we can maybe transition into our big announcement here, but the more profit that you have too, and the more wealth that you are accumulating, there becomes so much more possibility to put your money together and to collaborate on business ventures. Like I think you and I both are we're seeing so many conversations on social media and having like side conversations with friends and peers, and people are starting to feel like a little bit lonely in their business and just doing this thing all by themselves. And I've even had this conversation with you, Nikki. I've had it with other people in the past. And it's like, could we actually put our genius together, our desires together, our skill sets, our strengths together? And could we go further, faster in a more fun and fruitful, fulfilling, financially abundant way? If we came together, what if we partnered together and grew something? So I'm going to turn it over to you so you can do like the first big reveal.
First big reveal. So as you guys can tell, we are super excited and passionate about using your group program as a vehicle for wealth. And what's amazing about the two of us is that we each have our own geniuses, as we shared earlier. Like I'm very much, how the heck do you get these amazing dream clients and customers in the door? And then and Meg is like, yeah. And then how do you put them through a system and a structure so that they get results? And then heck yeah, even continue to work with you so that you're not always needing a flood of new people coming in. And so we have been friends for a while and business, like knowledge, mastermind sharing buddies. And we're like, why don't we just bring our genius together in such a way that we're able to help people not only get people into a group program and fill their group program, but actually build a sustainable, profitable group program that they can leverage to create wealth for themselves, for their family, for whatever it is that brings joy into their lives, right? Because there are so many things that you could do with that profit. You could fund your child's education. You could, buy your dream home somewhere. You could create investment properties. And so we really want to come together and help you accomplish that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked that we are going in this direction together. We're going to help so many people. So Nikki and I have got some incredible projects coming up really soon. We have some awesome workshops that we're going to be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. So if you are someone who has an existing group coaching program, like you already have your group program and you want help on growing the profit that you're making from your group program, let us know below. All you have to do is comment with the word groups below, and we will connect with you one-on-one. We'll connect with you privately in the DMs and let you know about the awesome workshops that we have coming up soon so we can help you do that.
Yeah. And I don't, how do I want to say this? It's like, don't leave this opportunity on the table. That's like one of the things that I really came to me to share with folks, because I've, this is a random story, but I promise I'm going somewhere with it. I remember when I was straight out of college and I had an opportunity to go to NYU for a summer program, and they brought in experts in certain areas. And it was like, it was for my career in publishing is where I was going. And they brought in, publishers of magazines, CEOs of like Condé Nast and book publishing companies and all of this magic. And they were like, we're going to share with you opportunities to learn from us and grow from us. And all you have to do is reach out, because if you reach out, we will get back to you. We will look at how we can support you. And I was one of those people that always raised my hand, but I heard from the guy who was one of like I think he might've been CEO of Condé Nast at the time. He has since passed. But he was like, every year I do this, and every year I get 0 people that contact me. And I was like, well, I'm going to be that person. So if any part of you is like, yeah, I just want to reach out, I want to see how Meg and Nikki can help me, just like put groups in the comment below, because you will be shocked at how many people say, yes, I'm going to do it, and then don't do it. So if you have that feeling right now, like just put it in there. We're not going to like twist your arm to continue to learn from us. But if you just get that feeling like, hey, these gals seem awesome and like they can help me, just put groups in the comment below.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see who puts groups in the comments below.
Say that 3 times fast, but yeah, we'd love to support you. So I'm excited to see.
Awesome. I cannot wait to see what happens in the next few months and who joins this. It's going to be a movement, a wealth building movement. So let's go. Let's do it.
Do it. And again, if you leave with nothing else from this training, we want you to think about the profit of your business, like intentionally, proactively, and when you're pricing, right? Like do it early. All right, guys?
Yeah. Awesome.
Sweet. All right. We think you're magic. We'll talk to you later. And until next time.
Until next time.